Good morning or good afternoon, whatever time it is that you're watching. I'm Amy with momstoolbox.com, and I am so glad that you're here. We are launching in with reading 28 Days of Love in the Bible, and we're starting out with Esther. And actually, we started yesterday, but I'm going back and I'm reading the first chapter today. So I'm going to go ahead and read that to you. And we're in my backyard. Don't mind the gentlemen. They're laying new uh, cable, I think so, for AT&T or something. So anyway, that's an awesome backyard, by the way. So whenever I start to read my Bible, and since I'm going to be reading it to you, I try to enter his courts with thanksgiving and praise. So whenever I start my time, I try to think of three things that I'm thankful for. So I'm going to just pause for a moment and let you think of three things that you're thankful for. And these can be big, massive things, or they can be tiny things that are just gifts. It might be brisk weather in the morning, it might be a bird chirping, it might be hot coffee, it might be spending time with someone that you love last night, it might be a birth. I mean, these can be big or little. So I'm going to give you a minute just to kind of think of three things. Awesome. Okay, and now I'm just going to read from Esther 1. I am reading a version of the Bible that you can find at ebible.org. It's in the public domain, so I wanted to follow all copyright things, and this one is one that they're willing to share everywhere. So I'm going to read Esther 1. Um, the Bible reading schedule is at momstoolbox.com. And like I said, it's 28 days of love in the Bible. So we're reading through several books, a chapter at a time for the month of February. So, all right, here we go. And by the way, I am not a biblical expert, so I'm sure my pronunciations will be a little off, but I can do the best I can. All right. So, oops, I had Esther 2 up because that's what I read this morning. Okay, Esther 1. Now, in the days of Assuerus, this is Assuerus who reigned from India even to Ethiopia over 127 provinces. In those days, when the king Assuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Susa the palace, in the third year of his reign, he made a feast for all his princes and his servants. The army of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. He displayed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his ancient majesty many days, even 180 days. When these days were fulfilled, the king made a 7-day feast for all the people who were present in Susa the palace, both great and small, in the court of the garden of the king's palace. There were hangings of white and blue material, fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and marble pillars. The couches were of gold and silver on a pavement of red, white, yellow, and black marble. They gave them drinks in golden vessels of various kinds, including royal wine in abundance, according to the bounty of the king. In accordance with the law, the drinking was not compulsory, for so the king had instructed all the officials of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also, Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mahum, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king, wearing the royal crown, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was beautiful. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command by the eunuchs, and therefore the king was very angry, and his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men who knew the times, for it was the king's custom to consult those who knew law and judgment, and next to him were Karshena, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, who saw the king's face and sat first in the kingdom. What shall we do to Queen Vashti according to the law, because she has not done the bidding of the king Ahasuerus by the eunuchs? Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti, the queen, has not done wrong to just the king, but also to all the princes and to all the people who are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen will become known to all women, causing them to show contempt for their husbands when it's reported. King Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she didn't come. Today, the princesses of Persia and Media have heard the queen's deed, will tell all the king's princes, and this will cause much contempt and wrath. If it pleases the king, let a royal commandment go from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it cannot be altered, that Vashti may never again come before King Ahasuerus. And let the king give her royal estate to another who is better than she. When the king's decree which he shall make is published throughout all his kingdom, for it is great, all the wives will give their husbands honor, both great and small. This advice pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, and to every province according to its writing, and to every people in their language, that every man should rule his own house, speaking in the language of his own people. Well, thank you for joining me. That is just Esther 1. Next, I'll be writing Esther 2. Like I said, you can check out the full reading schedule if you want to read for yourself at momstoolbox.com. Or, of course, you can just follow me here every day for the month of February as I will read through 28 days of love in the Bible. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.